Hey guys, what's going on? The blerd, whatever this thing. What is it?
We're going with the blerd confidential.
I was about to say.
We are going with blerd confidential.
Confidential. All right, can we take two?
You want to try to run that back?
You want to run that back?
Yeah.
All right, go ahead. We still rolling. Go ahead.
You might as well lead it in there too.
Yeah, hold on. How they do it?
Go.
Yeah, keep it going. Keep it going.
Run that back, DJ.
Oh man, but no, you were tuned into the Blerd Confidential, a new podcast on the scene. New. Yeah, we'll say that. Q.
You like a fresh pair of socks. I'm James. Well, you can call me Big James. You can call me whatever you like, but don't call me outside my name. Yeah.
Okay. Oh, little sass. All right, we feel it.
And I'm Johnny, aka Johnny.
Oh.
I feel that. Oh man. So yeah, man, this is a new thing we kind of got going on here. You probably like, what's the point? Why you here? What we got to say? I think it's just James had the best description for this. But it's just a tale of three black nerds who are 30-esque. Somewhere around there. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Give or take, plus or minus.
Yeah.
Times pi.
Oh man. So what's going on, fellas, man? How y'all doing, man? What got y'all into the game?
Yeah, I mean, literally, all it really is. Sometimes you got to hear a different opinion. You might hear the same thing once or twice. You might read it a different way, but sometimes a different. And sometimes I like to listen to everybody else's, but I got something to say too. And I think with the three of us, I think we have enough mouths and enough words amongst the three of us to get a lot of things said. Yeah, but that's about it.
Okay.
That's
all
about
right.
it.
I'm
slide on in here. So, I mean, of course, in my 30 plus years of being on this earth, EURF earth, run into a lot of things and, different experiences and things like that. And I think, with us having the ability to be on this platform, I think it's the best way that we can, share different experiences, break bread, and, just, things we do on a day-to-day basis, but, except we can share with you guys. So super excited to be here and, just, shout out to all my peeps out there, whoop, whoop, whoop. But, that's why we're here.
Okay. All right. I'll go ahead and speak to myself. This is not my first stint in podcasting. I actually currently do it. I'm trying to, I got these boys in, they finally decided to do it. But now, no, I'm the guest on the outside of this, man. But I've always been telling people, yeah, I'm a nerd dude. Like I ain't never had no issues with that, and I always thought about talking, different things like that with others, who may qualify as well. So yeah, I always thought it was fun. Apparently this is a new phenomenon that black men are nerds as well, which. Okay. I was like, I didn't know that was a new thing, but all right, let's roll.
Right.
But it depends on how you came up and where you came from. You got a lot of people like that grew up in the streets. I grew up in the middle of nowhere. Johnny grew up in the middle of nowhere. And even then, being in the middle of Quentin, you grew up in the middle of nowhere, didn't you?
I was in Beaumont.
Where'd you grow up?
It's a small city.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's pretty small.
Middle of nowhere. I got you.
Yeah.
I've been through there before. I tried not to speed through there.
Gas station stop.
I try my best not to get pulled over in Beaumont.
Definitely.
And I think the biggest thing is like even doing that is like you got this stigma about where you grew up. Either you grow up, you going to school, you going to the military, you gonna drive this Puckwood truck.
Mm-hmm.
You going to the plant?
You gonna work for the city?
Yeah, you gonna work for the city. And that's it. You gonna get this pension. You gonna get the state retirement. You gonna get the state retirement if you lucky. Like if you look up and get this state job, oh boy,
yeah,
if you set for life,
oh yeah, you good.
But You couldn't talk about that with nobody else around there unless you knew that's what they like at the same time.
Yeah.
It was one of those situations because like I got people that I know now that grew up, I mean, thuggish, ruggish, like, I mean, just they thugging it. But at the same time, when you sit down and you actually talk to people and they open up, they will start to tell you, it's like, yeah, they wasn't going to tell nobody about this. You had to discover this.
Hey, I knew hardcore.
They weren't coming out with it.
We all knew hardcore, slew-footed, pants sagging, one color wearing type brothers, and like, hey man, you saw Dragon Ball Z the other night? It was dope, huh? That type of stuff. So it was like, hey man, what you think about that Matrix stuff, man? It's the wild, huh? I'm just saying, so
Exactly.
it's not as new as a lot of people like to think. Some people may not talk about it as much, or you may not talk to your woman about it as much, but
Right. But then at the same time, you may have those, undercover nerds, just like that, that gentleman, hey man, seen that last episode of Dragon Ball Z, like something like that. But, then at the same time, man, I got this game cat, something crazy like that, but at the same time, I think there's, a little nerd in all of us. I think there's certain things about tech, certain things about, other culture that fascinates us. And, ultimately, I think that's, one of the binders that brings us all together, but, coming from, especially, in our little town in Mississippi, there's a lot of that, you saw a lot of that, and it was difficult for, especially individuals of color to, freely express ourselves. And, it's to me, coming up and, and I claim that I'm old. I'm really not that old, but I feel like I'm old, but, 10 years in the army do that to you. But, it's like, it's insane the progression, that has taken place, in such a short span of time. I mean, who would have thought, back in like the late 90s, we will be able to, have this conversation from, different parts of the city, and, be able to share, what we're able to share to the world. So I don't know about you guys, but, I'm super stoked about it. So yeah, just, really, really, excited about, sharing our experiences with you.
Oh yeah. I mean, I tell people all the time, my idea of a good time is getting together with people I know and actually hopping on a game with some, co-op or multiplayer stuff. That's just what I do. I don't really run the streets like that. So I'm just saying, like, that's not my thing.
I can drink at the house. I can, I can do all this at the house, like, and I can do it I can do it a lot more efficiently and more effectively in my own environment or a comfortable environment.
See,
I ain't got to pay to get in.
But I'm not gonna lie. When I was young, I've always wanted to go out. We went to we went to the same high school. I always wanted to go out. To have this party and stuff like that. Like, hey, mom, dad, you ain't going to that. Like, like you never went anywhere. So, of course, you encased yourself in, anime, comic books, games and things because you had nothing else to do. So, it's now being older, it's very easy for one to be like, quarantine.
Oh yeah, no big deal. You'd be like, oh shoot, you mean I could catch up on some gaming? Okay, say less.
You mean I get to self-quarantine again? I shall. Thank you.
I think there was a meme on it was either Facebook or Twitter, I can't remember, where it was said that I've been quarantining for the last blank, X amount of years. Okay, this is a Tuesday. You know what I mean? Now, people don't get it twisted. We do actually go out and hang. I just always been one of those people. If I went out, I always try to say, look, I don't want to get in no trouble because unlike y'all, I don't know about y'all, but I had strict parents. And if for some reason they found out that I got caught in some stuff, I had to answer on multiple different levels. So it didn't stop with just my parents. It ended with aunties calling me, asking, and then I got to talk to my grandparents. And it's just like, you know what? I'd rather not.
Ain't worth it. Ain't worth it.
Look, let me tell you, when you start getting visions in your mind of how bad your ass gonna get beat, when they say, well, let me call your mama, you know how quick I straightened up in my life in just an early age. Just the thought of my mama having to say the phrase, they had to call me and I had to leave my job to come up here. Like that sentence alone just set me up to know that I'm going to get beat to death or to the edge of death and pray for death. This is the mother that I dealt with.
Look, I had
that raised two boys.
I had something similar. I remember, so I was the only son for the longest. And I remember, I want to say it was like 4th grade or something like that. Now, I wasn't a bad kid, but I like to talk, which is, I guess, hey, it's ironic now.
Go figure.
And I know. And so, you know, I remember my mom came up for like a parent-teacher conference just to see what everything, she just popped up. Said, I just want to see how he doing. And the teacher fixed her mouth and said, you know, he's a good kid. He's great, but he sometimes interrupts class because he just can't stop talking. And my mom was like, and I happened to walk up and heard her say this, and she was like, oh, really? Okay, thank you. With a smile, turns to me and says, I'll see you when you get home. Have a good day. And walks out. And I'm like, uh-oh. You know, what's that mean?
The last things that you ever want to hear from a parent before they walk out of school.
Here's the kicker.
Especially when you think you did something wrong.
Yeah, here's the funny part. She made me wait. You know, I'm anticipating this the whole time, so I'm like, okay, all right, as soon as I get home, I'm ready. Nothing happens. She act like nothing happened. We ate dinner, all that stuff. I'm about to get ready to get into bed. She was like, come see.
Oh, no.
She like, oh, you thought you was going. I'm like, you really made me wait. So you made me think everything was good. We straight.
What made me so bad about it, you know, it was like, you know, my dad, James could probably attest to this one, but my dad, he was a district manager at Walmart. And so, you know, he was always working. My mom was a housewife. And, you know, my mom, she wasn't too bad. You know, it was like, all right, you know, I get in trouble with something like that. You know, she wasn't too terribly bad. But it was like, I'm about to call your daddy. I'm like, no, because what would happen, my dad, he would forget about it. And then it would be like 2 or 3 days later. Oh, what? You remember that time when you so-and-so, get your tail over here. And I mean, just he had this thick. It was to this day, I have never seen belts made this thick. He must have, you know, gotten it from Rancor hide or something. I don't know.
Hey man, he had a belt produced from Cell. You just put a bunch of them together and they combine.
I don't know what kind of belt this thing was. I mean, it must have been like one of the first
straight out of something. Straight out of Mordor. They pulled that right out
straight out of the bowels of Mordor. And I mean, just the beating I would get would just send me to another place, man. And so it was just like I was afraid of just not for. I mean, the whipping, of course, you get the initial fear, right? But it was like the anticipation would build up to a point where you're just like, you know, you didn't know when it was coming because he would forget, you know, and. You know, it was just, you know, it would be, that was the punishment within itself was the anticipation. So yeah, it was needless to say, I lived a very, very sheltered life, you know, and then of course my sister, she was, you know, older, you know, so she was in college doing her thing. So yeah, I was the only child. So yeah, I got all the attention, both good and bad. It was crazy.
Oh yeah.
Sounds like PTSD to me.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like I twitch, like when my wife is whipping like our kids, even I twitch. You know, she's like,
you like, no.
You know, it's like, you know, hope I ain't doing that. You know?
I really dislike whooping kids just because I'm so damn big. Like I'm scared I'm gonna kill one.
Yep.
And then my feelings get hurt occasionally when I do it. I'm like, well, I had to do it.
You do feel bad though.
Man.
You do feel bad.
The one and only time I had to for my oldest daughter. When I say my heart was broken. Hey man, I feel like I finally got Because I remember I argued this point when I was a kid when they say this is going to hurt me more than it hurt you. And
Yeah, right.
I told my mom, I said, how? I'm the one in pain. That makes zero sense. It didn't help me get out of the situation, but I thought I had a compelling argument.
That's the only thing we thinking about at that point.
That's it.
That hurt me more. Well, I never got that. My dad, he just went at it. You know, he was just like, you know, you gonna get this beaten. And what was so bad about it was like the more I cried, the more that angered him. You know, it's like, you know, your tears of pain angers me. And it's just like, you know, there's just like, there's no escaping it. So, you know, yeah, it was like, you know, I got a 5-year-old and 10-year-old, especially the 5-year-old, because he has just like the big old eyes and like he looks at you and it's like, oh man, I don't want to do it.
They know how to run game, man. They know how to make it.
Yeah, they do. Mm-hmm. Yeah, they do.
That's like my middle girl. She's hey man, she just tries it, but I can't bring for the heart of me bring it. I can't bring the hammer down. I just can't. But she tries it.
Like, oh, I can't do here, baby.
Yeah. Just go to your room. It's like that doesn't solve the problem. But hey, I'm quick to say, can I do this? Talk to your mama. Because you're not gonna get me hit up. Then
nope.
Matter of fact, she tried to set me up.
If I say yes.
She tried to set me up one time and said, well, Daddy, you're an adult. You can make decisions. I said, so I was like, I told my old boy that word. He was like, man, she tried to set you up. She tried to set you up. He said, you know what? I am an adult. I can't make decisions.
How do they say grown stuff out of nowhere? Like, I never said that.
Trying to hit that ego button. Yeah. Like, I know how to get you in the fields. Are you a real man? A real man can make real decisions.
Exactly.
You a grown up man.
You a
grown man. You a grown man, and you can make decisions.
Yeah.
You gonna let somebody tell you that you can't?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, she was basically that close to saying. So you saying Mama run the house? Is that what you saying? She was. Hey. I know she was trying to do
a manual or something that I'm not aware of, because children nowadays say some grown stuff. It's like, you know, it's manipulative. It's like, you know, are you not the one who runs the house? You know, why, yes, I am. And then it's like, well, surely, you know, it wouldn't, you know, this wouldn't, you know, be something that would warrant me getting whooping for. Well, you know, I think you'll let you pass this time. And then before you realize what happened, the voodoo has taken place and they're gone. And it's like, what the heck just happened, you know? Mm-hmm. But yeah, I don't know. Kids say some grown stuff nowadays. Like, man.
There's moments where you just got to sit back and you look at it. You're like, this can't be my child, man. Something went wrong.
see, this is the problem with it. I have to say, yes, that's my child at that point. This is what I did. These are the things that I've done. I can't deny the child. Yes, you are mine. You have done these things I've tried to do. Ooh, don't do that no more. Don't do it.
Don't do it.
Don't do it. I love you, but don't do it.
Hey, there's plenty of times I remember I used to get told this. What's the saying? You know, there's nothing new under the sun. And you know. So just because you think of it, I tried it. So
and see, this is how bad I was about it. I would tell like my cousins and everything else, I'm like, hey, look, I'm gonna tell you, my stepson, I had told him the same thing. I told him this, I'm like, I'm gonna look at you right now. I want you to just agree or disagree with me. I'm gonna run through a few things. We're gonna run through a scenario. I'm gonna tell you what you about to get ready to do. And I'm going to tell you what you're thinking, and you let me know if I'm wrong. You are thinking at this point that if I go ahead and hurry up and start talking, that I'll forget about this. Mm-hmm. Yes or no? Yes. Okay. So I just want to set a baseline. What you thought that you were getting away with, you thought that if you could push this along just long enough until you got ready to go on winter vacation for Christmas, that we'll just let this go and we'll try to make sure we pick up with something else. Yes or no? Yes. I said, okay. We can keep going with this, but right now I'm going to tell you the rest of everything else that you thought of that you want to do from here on out. Guess what? Just stop it now. You ain't doing
Don't
nothing.
do it. Shut it down right now.
Just no, we're not there. Like in your mind, set it on fire and just walk away because that's exactly what I just did.
Exactly. But you know what though? Those type of talkings are the ones that really instill the lesson, right? Because it's like, and then like, because it's funny because the same things I find myself talking to my 10-year-old about are the same things that my dad was talking to me about. And I'm just like, no, is that whatever. You don't understand my strife. You don't get my struggle. Yeah. And so like I see my son doing the same things and sometimes you kind of lead them on to a point, but before they hurt themselves, you kind of, you're intervening like, hey, you see what you're about to do, right? See what you're about to do. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So you still gonna do it, right? No, why? Because you about to stop me. No, I was gonna let you do it, but I was,
you don't even know why I'm about to stop you. I'm gonna just let you finish doing what you're doing. You can find out in a minute.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And
right off the side. Go ahead, run into the wall. Go.
It's those lessons that stick with you to this day. And it's like the older you get. I ain't gonna lie. I called my dad one day. I was like, Dad. He was like, yes, son. I was like, you're right. About what? Everything.
All of it.
Still don't like all the things, but you're right.
Yeah. I don't appreciate how it was, how you got the lesson to me. However, I get it.
I get it.
We should have had a civil conversation about this. I think I was understanding enough as an individual to take that criticism. But why did you have to beat me?
Why'd you have to beat me? Oh my God. So it was funny too, right? So it was like, I get in the basic training, of course you're getting yelled at, this and this. And I'm like, all right. It was nothing new.
Like, hey.
That's terrible. That's a terrible thing to admit. But it was just like, all right, so I was one of the few to like, other than the, extenuous physical activity, which I never did when I was in high school. I wasn't big into football. That had nothing to do with Big O, or I was nothing, I wasn't big at any of it, so, other than the physical part, it was just like the yelling and the mental torture. And like, yeah, it's just another day at the house. So it's like, whatever,
Like, this is the best shot back. Yeah. All right, this is gonna be a breeze. Let's go. Let's go.
Let's go. Oh, yeah. I'm like, oh shoot, this is it.
We're bringing out the cocktail at the end of training. Let's get this started.
This ain't exactly. Probably over here pissing off the sergeant. He like, I know. you making fun of me, huh? Huh, Green? Nah, sir. What you mean?
And it was funny because it was like, okay, he's probably going to come in and tell us to do this. So let me go ahead and do it so I won't get yelled at. And it's like you do it, he skips right past you and then goes to another guy. And so like, weeks later, it's like graduation. Who the heck are you? Or I'm a private so-and-so. It's like, oh, shit, using my platoon? Yes, you are. Oh, shit, what's going on, Private? What's going on?
Because they never talk to you.
Sir, I tried not to be seen.
Hey,
so yeah, it's just those hard lessons are definitely lessons that you take with you for the rest of your days. So
oh yeah. So Johnny, I see you mention Big O, which I tell people that's Batman but with robots. It's, if Batman decided to buy mechs instead of a bat suit.
Yes.
We got to talk about
Batman.
I
totally did if I had money.
But okay, I got this question.
He still had a cold made tools, Android made at it. So.
Yeah, exactly. But I'll pose this question to all of us: is that what was that one thing that really got you? One, what do you think being a nerd really constitutes? Whatever. But what is that one medium or multiple mediums that really got you where you're like, yeah, I think this is where I am. This is where I fit.
I think for me, it was, first off, it was video games more than anything, because that was the first thing that you ended up with like family members, for instance, like with my cousins on my dad's side, I was almost in the middle of the bunch. My oldest aunt already had kids that were married and on their way out of college
No.
when I was in like 5 years old. Like their kids are done. They're getting ready to start a family at this point. Get their careers going. Even going to their house, I had a cousin that was closer to my age, which was their youngest son. And my cousin BJ is probably 3-4 years older than me. And they had a Sega at the house and a Nintendo, I believe. Right. That was the first place I got to play Sonic. But like before then, like my dad brought home a Nintendo. Somebody had a Commodore 64 where we played Pong. I believe it was at I think it was at my mom's, my grandma's house, and one of my aunts or somebody had one. And I remember playing Pong and Miss Pac-Man and all this stuff on the TV. Like then.
Hey.
Or Pac-Man.
My man took it back with that one. That's like
way back.
So like, I would say then, like with the Nintendo, and then that was the first console that we had at our house. But being able, like you hear from your cousins the first thing, like, guess what game I got? And that's the first thing y'all gonna do, or you know they got one. Hey, you think your mama gonna let us play the game? You think your daddy gonna let us play the game? Or you think your brother gonna let us play the game? And we go in there and that's what we do. We sit up in there for hours.
Yeah.
And just get lost in it. But then the other one was kind of like movies and comic books. Like my dad was probably one of the biggest comic book fans that I've ever known. When we were growing up, we had on a 10-foot wall, 6 feet out of that wall was nothing but comic books stacked about 2.5 feet high for 6 feet. From one corner to that 6 feet. 2.5 feet tall comic books. I mean, some of everything. And he was in the military, so he got to go to Hawaii, and they took a trip out to Japan, and they came back, of course, because they were stationed in Hawaii. But with a lot of the things that he had an influence on, for like taking us to go see the first Batman movie, and had to go take us to see it twice because we got hyped up on so much candy before we went in.
Y'all passed out.
We were running hard. Got popcorn. He said that was the last time I bought popcorn at a movie theater. 1989. So got there, sat down. We all sit. We ready to go. Lights go dark. Movie starts. 4 kids passed out. It was me, my brother, and 2 cousins passed out. One of us holding a bucket of popcorn in front of us, the large bucket in front of a child. It looks like it is huge. No popcorn is touched. We had to go see that movie twice. So I say that was it for me. It was like video games because of the connection like I had with my cousins at the time, because even though we grew up in the middle of nowhere, like even like they had some nice stuff that we can all appreciate and enjoy for us to be country folks. One of them, their dad was, career Army, and he was a carpenter. And then my other aunt, she was a nurse and her husband was a truck driver. So they had like, it ain't like everybody was rich or anything. My grandfather was well off. He had acres of land, cattle, and hunting hounds that he sold and he used for hunting all year round, whenever, whatever. And he would sell them and he would breed them. So it was like they all had something that they were able to get by with, but they were still able to get some of those things that they would consider like being one of those things where like they're in like country versus city and stuff like that. So yeah, that was it.
All right. That's pretty cool. Yeah, I don't know, man. It's I don't know, being, you know, like I said, my sister's way older than I am. So, and I always came up as a single child. So I had to find ways to entertain myself. Right. So,
Mm-hmm.
you know, like I remember like going to like the barbershops, Killingsworth, Jay, you know what I'm talking about.
Yep.
Going down there, they had a little,
Yeah.
Yep. They had the little arcade machine there back in the day, so, and even prior to
Got my
that,
arcades.
my sister, like I said, by the time I really got up in age, she was, off going to college, right? So it's like, it was like, I got to find something to entertain myself. So, one day I was nosy. She still had her room at the house. And so I was nosy, just dug around in there, found her old Atari, so, hooked that. That was back when they had the little connections there that you loosen the screw, and it was like a spade connector. So it was like you loosen the screw to, it was that. Yeah, I'm that old. Yeah. But, and, it was a blast. And, so started playing, Pong, Pac-Man, if just, what few games she had, of course, some of them weren't to my taste, but, whatever, you may do what you had. And, and my dad, he wasn't big on gaming, like, at all, so, I really didn't get introduced to the Nintendo until, like, the Nintendo was no longer a thing. So it was like, everybody's on Super Nintendo. I'm just now getting the challenge set from Nintendo.
Okay.
Exactly. Exactly. So it's just like, I was always behind. And, I remember, one day going into, this is back when Sam's first was a thing. And back then they only let, Walmart associates in, like it was a legit club. So, you went into Sam's Club and they had all the computers and stuff like that. I was like, man, so like we didn't even have a computer. Back when everybody was like, all into computing, and the Pentium, I think it was like a Pentium 800 megahertz processor was still, like a huge thing. And, started kind of messing around with that. I seen this, it was like Microsoft Flight Simulator. I was like, man, that's pretty cool. So it was like I was always waiting to go to Sam so I could play Microsoft Flight Simulator, because my dad was like nowhere interested in, if it didn't have anything to do with business or Walmart, like he wasn't interested. So it was like, just struggling, trying to, find something to occupy my time. But, as I got older, started to mow lawns and things like that, you guys know the struggle to try to, start to afford your own consoles, and, got, the PlayStation 1 and, and then the Xbox when it rolled out, that ginormous monstrosity that we all know.
Controller? Yeah, man.
My baby.
Yes, and like jumping on those nights, it was weird, man, because me and another, and we, like I said, by this time we're in high school, and we kind of had our own little, nerd little group, everybody, we had a few guys who dressed in like black with the big bottom pants, and just the outcast. Yes,
jeans. Oh man, with all the pockets.
Yeah. Yeah.
All the cargo pockets, all the leg room you ever.
Hey man, you pack your lunch, pack your lunch in your pockets.
And like that was us, right? So like we would have those nights where we did nothing but play Halo, and this is this is crazy, but we used to go to Walmart at night and buy, they had, which I don't even think they sell them anymore. I totally should, but it was a caramel apple pie. Don't ask me why that blended in with gaming, but we used to go buy these caramel apple pies and like eat that.
Probably high.
And then, oh my,
it's possible.
That, well, there's a slight possibility.
No confirmation.
It was a very strong possibility. At that time, one or more of us may have been under the influence. But anyway,
Oh, okay.
Yeah, we used to do that, man, and jump on Halo, and finally I started kind of making my own money, and then started easing into PC gaming. But then, amongst all that, you had Dragon Ball Z, Big O, Cowboy Bebop, Trigun, Bleach, Inuyasha mixed in between there. So, and as I mentioned before, it's like I really didn't go anywhere. Where like I went to the prom, I went for like 30 minutes. I was like, all right, I'm bored. And I was about as antisocial as they came. But yeah, I think that's where ultimately, I really got my start. It was more so of, trying to find things to keep me occupied, and, especially in the age of, where bullying was, prominent and things like that. It was tough for some of us who weren't, especially Mississippi. It was like, if you weren't in like football or, baseball or sport, bigger than that, it was just, no one really paid attention to you. So, it was good to find those avenues, especially when you found the like-minded individuals. You kind of formed a little small pack. And you guys hung out when you could, things like that. But yeah, I think that was ultimately, where I got my start. But
okay.
I don't know, it's, I think we all, bring something, a little different to the table,
Oh yeah. I mean, cause my stuff is similar to y'all's, but, I did play sports, but I call myself a tweener. So I was able to hang out with the quote unquote cool kids, and they were familiar with me, but I can also go over here and, so I was kind of like in the middle for the most part. But
that was me.
Yeah. And so how I got into introduced to all these things is through my dad. And I think I can kind of, so my parents are fairly younger than most people. I tell everybody I'm like the product of horny children, and here I am. And so my dad was the one who owned the first Nintendo in the house, because he bought it for himself. and so like the first thing I remember playing would be like Mario or The Legend of Zelda or Metal Gear, of all things. the poor port that came over here in the US. And also Star Wars. He's the one that introduced Star Wars to me as well. Terminator, which I don't know how responsible that was, but Terminator and RoboCop. So yeah,
Yep.
And also when I was a kid, I was a huge Ninja Turtles fan.
Oh man, yeah.
And so I grew up, playing those games and watching the TV show, and I loved the movie when I was a kid. I still say it kind of holds up.
Oh yeah, yeah, even today.
And so I think from there, I was also mostly the only child, so I'm probably one of the only people y'all know had a Sega Saturn at one point. But like I think for each generation, I owned a console in that generation, so I just kind of grew up just playing a lot of different things, having gaming parties where we all sit down and play GoldenEye or Mario Kart or something like that.
Not GoldenEye.
Woo. Oh yeah, or we're gonna run through Super Mario World real quick. Try to go through all the things as fast as possible.
Yep.
So I mean, it was just interesting though, because like I said, I did grow up playing a lot of games with my dad, or watching films with him. We did go watch a Batman movie, but it was Batman and Robin, which we don't like to mention too much. Actually, it's a funny story. So I tried to introduce my daughters to. So we watched Batman '89, and I was like, okay, yeah, that's I'm one of the ones. I think Michael Keaton's probably the best Batman. I think he plays a good Bruce Wayne and a good Batman. Of course, he don't.
Shout out to Michael Keaton.
Yeah, he's not physically imposing, but it plays a role, But then I popped
even at one point, Batman wasn't physically imposing at one point in the comic book. So,
but that was the beauty. I'm sorry, I mean to cut you off, but that was the beauty of it, right? But it was like Michael Keaton as Michael Keaton did not seem an imposing figure.
No,
but once he donned the suit, he became something else.
Yeah.
And I think that was what drew me to it.
And because I think when you look at other people who played the character, they either, because here's why I always say, when you play somebody like Batman outside of other superheroes, you have to play two characters. You have to play Bruce Wayne and you have to play Batman. So not everyone can capture both. They're either good in one aspect or the other. I think Christian Bale is a good Batman, not as much as a convincing Bruce Wayne. You get somebody like
billionaire playboy.
Now,
yes.
Now,
psychopath, yes.
As much as we laugh at him, George Clooney looks like a Bruce Wayne. Not as much like a Batman.
No.
And what's up with the Batman with the nipples?
The bat nipples and the bat bulge.
The strong nipples, man. They were orangutan like.
Hey, man.
Right.
But no, it was actually a funny story because, I basically doing like with my dad. So I got my daughter into gaming. We and her play like co-op games together and stuff like that. And so I tried to also introduce her to certain films I grew up with. And I popped in Batman Returns because Batman Returns was that movie we remember, but we don't. And exactly. I remember I was going to certain parts and I didn't realize how many innuendos was there. And I was like,
right?
I'm show her this.
How did I miss this? And my wife can't stand it. She can't stand it. Like, I'm that type of person. I'll watch Batman and Batman Returns like multiple times. Like every time I watch it, I find something different about it.
What made me say, okay, yeah, we can't do this. I remember the Penguin addressed Catwoman, and he said, "Oh, there's the pussy I've been looking for." And I said, "Excuse me." Is this not? It said PG-13, right?
At all.
Hey, well, honestly, it also goes to show we've been pushing PG-13.
That will rate as a PG movie now.
Yeah,
that's okay.
I mean, but it's funny because when you look at the introduction of PG-13, it's very like basically soft rated R for the most part.
Soft rated R.
Because you look at, I think the creepiest scene is you go back to like Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom. And at the end where the guy's face melts off. And they're like, there's no way that's PG-13.
No way. What is he doing? He's morphing, son.
He hasn't dropped a single F-bomb, so we're cool.
We're good.
Oh, man, his head got cut off, but they got They had
the blood was squirting within a 6-inch radius, so I think we're good.
Yeah, because remember
so far, so I think we're good for PG-13.
Yeah, because you look at it in the same film, there was a dude that got chopped up by a propeller on a plane, and it shows the blood splatter. And I'm like, wow, that's gruesome.
The splatter. Which classes, by the way? Shout out to Indiana Jones kids.
A classic. This is when George Lucas was on point. You know, it
was on point, right?
I come to realize George Lucas is always, even going back, he's always been better as a producer and an ideas guy, not a director and a writer. I just come to that realization.
Which segues into
exactly. I don't know where I was going with that. I just had to make that point.
I know where you were going with that.
Oh man, but yeah, was that?
That's in the galaxy far, far away.
Oh yeah, I know. Now I ain't gonna. You know what? I'm not gonna bash Disney on this one, even though I think they're somewhat greedy overlords. But that's another story. I'm not gonna get into that.
Which of them are not? So that's the question. Which of them are not? I mean,
true.
Disney. They own everything. I mean,
pretty much.
Comcast just as bad. It was NBC Universal at one point.
Right, that's true.
But it's not because it's almost Comcast Universal.
Yeah, it's what the main ones were Comcast, Time Warner. Oh, Time Warner is Comcast. Yep. Or are they two different?
I think so. Yeah. You're right.
Yeah, so Comcast, Disney, because you could have said Fox, but Disney owns Fox now. They engulfed them.
Yeah.
So I don't know who else is there.
Man, I think MGM's still pushing. Like, I think they're like a major one, but like they got so many smaller ones under them. I believe it was MGM, and then I mean that's your big ones: MGM, Universal. Yeah.
Yep, that's it.
Yeah. Yep.
Right. So that's the point.
Pretty much.
That's it.
Oh man.
That's
Huh, that is interesting though. It's like now I think about the film industry, like with everything going on, I wonder what directions they're gonna take. Are we gonna go mostly streaming? Where all the new movies are just gonna come out digitally?
I mean, look at it right now though. It's AMC tried to throw a temper tantrum by saying that, you know what, we're not going to allow, I think it was Universal, not to play any more of their movies because that's what Trolls was was made by Universal,
Uh-huh.
if I'm not mistaken. So they said that, well, y'all can't play any more of your movies in our theaters since you want to release it at home. So just look forward to not being able to put that in front of thousands, millions of people in front of our screens. But the problem is the money that they made just by playing it at the house, they didn't miss out on anything. The only thing that the AMC missed out on was the
Popcorn
concessions. They keep their doors open for concessions.
That's it. That's why.
Because aren't they going out of business?
No, they weren't. I mean, they were doing well, but now they might be.
Okay, yeah, that's what I'm saying. Because word around the Port Johns was saying that there's
Amazon was going to buy
multiple AMC theaters that are
in trouble.
They're shutting down. Yeah,
they're in trouble now. But Amazon there was a rumor that floated out that Amazon was getting ready to buy them.
I mean,
before this whole COVID thing hit. Check this out though. Before the whole COVID thing happened, Amazon was talking about buying them out. Now that they're not making money from this, do you think at this point that they will try to turn them down?
Negative Ghost Rider.
With all the money that Amazon probably ain't going to throw that check at them like they did before COVID. So like you can take these bag of beans now. You had the whole cow before.
Yep.
Hey man. Okay, that poses a good question though. Do you? Because this is my thoughts. I don't feel every film is theater worthy, and what I mean by that, it does because I think going to the theater is an experience, and so I think you're going there to experience some great cinematography outside. And I'm like, I'll say it like this: if it's an average rom-com or something like that, honestly, release it digitally. There's no reason to go to a movie to go watch it. If it's some big spectacular thing, like even though I don't like the film, but an Avatar type film, where it's like, hey, we're pushing, cinematography or CGI to the next level, and it looks great in IMAX or on the big screen or silver screen. And you're like, okay, cool, I'll go watch it. Or I mean, that's it. Because you look at movies, like going to the theater, there's only a handful of movies where people are like, hey, even if we re-release it every year just so you can go see it. Of course, Star Wars is there. Jurassic Park, Avatar, even Titanic, which, granted, it was a lackluster love story but you go watch the ship sink, to be honest.
Right.
Or pretty much. Even more recent than that, look at the Marvel series, because movies, every time it comes out, they do a re-showing and they break it in like 2 days.
Yeah.
They'll run those movies for 14, 16 hours that day just to pick up again on the next day to do it, just to show them in the theaters all over again, leading up until that big release.
It's an event. And so if for some reason Love Story X comes out, you're like, I'll wait for it to come out, which is what most people do. So I don't know. So I think I don't want to see movies go completely out, but I do see a potential shift where not every film is going to get released in theaters.
In theaters, yeah. Especially now the whole COVID thing.
Landscape. Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see how they come back, because it's not going to look the same. They're already talking about in places where they have open serve food, so like buffets, like at certain restaurants, in certain hotels, casinos, like. They're not doing those things again. Like some companies, like the front facing food in general, like places are cutting that down like to nothing. So at that point, what does that look like for your theater when you come in on a Friday night, a Saturday night, or on holidays, especially like locations like Dallas, where it's vacation. It's a vacation spot. No matter which way you look at it, it's a tourist attraction one way or another. You got the Cowboys, you got the Texas Rangers, you have the Mavericks, you have the
Hockey.
You got hockey, you got Major League Soccer. Yeah, that's what the other two I was looking for. You got the Stars, you got the Major League Soccer with FC Dallas.
Yep.
Then you have a WNBA team. Then I think they have a WNBA team here. Then you have the AA basketball, the AAA basketball, and the baseball team. You got the Rough Riders, and I forgot the other team.
I forget.
Just that quick.
The name of the baseball team.
Right. You got Six Flags. You have Great Wolf Lodge. You have the wineries that are around, the vineyards that are here. You have all these breweries that are here. You have distillers that are here. People come here for vacation.
Yep.
With that being the case, movie theaters and places like that draw in those big populations, you can't be on top of other people like that. No. You gotta stay 6 feet apart. You can't be in no more than 3 or 4 people in a group. So like with that being the case is, imagine what a theater looked like on a Friday night. It won't look like that.
No.
It's not going to be packed like that. It can't be, because now we're closing restaurants. We're closing bars down again because the cases are building up so fast. They're building twice as fast as what they were at their peak.
Never mind, I'm not going to touch on that one. Don't you sit here and be smirched or, never mind. Our professor of politics here in this great state of Texas.
I dare you.
Well, guess what? He ain't doing it with a remote control or his mind. So he ain't my Professor X. Just like this ain't President Easy. Not my Professor X.
We need some of Wolverine's blood to be able to cure this mess. It'll straighten it all out.
Man, look, I'm
not
not even.
It ain't. We ain't got the right.
I'm not even gonna get into that because I can save that for a whole nother episode talking about the whole conspiracy theories that came out of this. Oh, I'm at a send it.
Oh my gosh.
Doesn't make a lot of sense, but there's a lot of grasping for straws because in their mind it makes sense. But hey, it is what it is.
Right, it is what it is. Right.
But to really go with what you're talking about is that when we stayed in our small towns, that's when we really piled into movies because it really wasn't nothing else to do. Like a day as a teenager in Beaumont was go to the mall, hang out at the mall until about 7, and then you walk over to the movie theater afterwards. And then after the movie is over, if your parents will let you take the car, you go hang out at Walmart at the weekend.
Exactly.
That was a parking lot weekend.
That was just hanging in Walmart's parking lot until 2:30 in the morning.
Yeah, doing nothing.
Oddly enough, never showed up. That was great. I mean, we just left because we were tired and got bored at that point. It's like, all right, I guess I'm going back to the house now. We're going to run by Taco Bell and go home.
Yep.
Which was always a terrible decision the morning after, but hey, it's what you had.
Oh yeah. It was always Hobby Lobby, and then it was got older. Then it started to be a Waffle House.
Oh yes.
It was a spot. Hey, yeah, meet you at the Waffle House. Yeah. But I mean, that was really it. It's crazy, especially when I think my first foray out to the big city was when I went to flight training in Phoenix, Arizona. And it was like coming from Hattiesburg, Mississippi to Phoenix, Arizona. I mean, it's just a culture shock out of this. Oh my gosh. Wait, you guys don't sell sausage and biscuits. And what is wrong with you? And and so like you're exposed to all this, and and that's when you're, and then what's funny about it, it's like that's when your love for things of the nerdery type really grow, is when you're exposed to all these different things, and different people. And it's now looking back, it's hard for me to really fathom, like, man, that's really all I did was hang out at Waffle House. I didn't even eat anything.
Hey.
Didn't even eat the waffles.
I mean, but that goes to show that we were willing to do what it took to entertain us. So, like, there's no reason to walk around a Walmart late at night, except the people watch, because you get the most interesting characters at nighttime.
Absolutely.
But,
absolutely.
Man, I've seen the biggest mullet I ever seen in my life at Walmart.
You get the old lady in the moo who's like one sneeze away from exposing her everything.
Yep. One sneeze.
Bad enough shit coming there with.
Yeah, man. The lady with the rollers. You get the dude who just threw whatever on, and he got one sock on, and it's like, yeah, it's crazy. But
you got somebody uncle in there with a head wrap on, still holding on to his Jerry curl since '84.
You right.
Since coming, he been holding on to it since Soul Glow.
Tell your mama never say, hey.
Hey, man, look, it's
no. Feel like go to stop. Just close your mouth. I smell it.
Chest hair hanging out.
Oh man, but we're gonna wrap this. But it's, I guess the main, I'm gonna let everybody do it. But I would say, this is something that was mostly an introduction and everything. Our thoughts, our thoughts on nerdom, and of course, there's more to come. Any topic or any subject y'all want us to also talk about, just be sure to send that to us. But we'll go ahead and just close it up. I mean, what are your expectations moving forward with this platform and or with this particular podcast? And we'll go ahead, close out with that. And if after now, we'll start with that, and then I'll go ahead. But James,
I'm sorry, what's the question?
I say for me, I have no expectations. I'm just gonna show up every week, however we do this, or as long as we do this. I'm gonna enjoy myself. I'm gonna enjoy good company, and I think that's the only thing I can't say that I expect is just to at least enjoy the time that we have talking. Because I mean, there's regular stuff that we can deal with on a regular basis. This is just one of those times I really won't have to.
Okay. All right. No, but Johnny, the question is like your expectations with this platform, and just kind of like your vision of it moving forward and things like that.
I feel like I'm about to do I have a dream speech, but no.
Yeah, go ahead.
Little white cheering, little white cheering.
You gotta say cheering, not children.
Say somewhere. But no, I mean, ultimately, I think we're just a bunch of dang, we're approaching middle age. Holy smokes! But
yep.
A bunch of guys in our 30s, and who enjoy all things tech and all things we participate strongly in nerddom, and and that's okay. And I'm sure a lot of you guys out there share the same sentiments. And I mean, ultimately, at the end of the day, it's all about relaxing, forming a community, and sharing our experiences with one another. And as James said, just ultimately enjoying ourselves. I mean, it's what it's all about. If I wanted to, I don't know, do anything, in regards to structure, I think we probably would be in politics or something, which I don't know at this point, probably be bad. But anyway, so, I mean, it's just ultimately, some things may come out of our mouth, but, I mean, it's how things roll here. But, I mean, I think ultimately, that's what I'm looking forward to, is being able to, talk a little Star Wars, talk a little PC hardware, talk a little tech, some scandals here and there, and just overall have a good time. So that's pretty much it.
All right. And I can say the same. Like I said, I've been always wanting to talk, sci-fi and gaming and things like that with people. So this is actually a great opportunity, and I appreciate you guys, actually bringing me in on this. Yeah. I appreciate y'all. But
I got your
yeah.
But
we're working hard to code the rings. Sorry.
Yeah, I know. And also, sometimes another subject matter may pop up, but that doesn't mean that the what we initially came here to do doesn't stand. So,
Right.
Yeah. Other than that, this is also a thing where if you do have social medias that you would like to share, I can also let people know that this will be on most places where you can find podcasts, and of course that'll be Apple, Google, Spotify, etc. And of course this link will also be published for people to be able to click and get to it. But if you do want to reach out to me myself, Q, I am at @_Q_the_great on Twitter. I also have a Facebook. It's just my first name, last name, Quentin Simpson, if you want to reach out there. Fellas, what about y'all? Y'all have any socials you want to share with anybody?
Mine is for Instagram, king.james1219. I guess the other one, no, that's going to be about it for right now until we get some other things squared away. But just stay tuned for other things.
All right.
Yeah, we're going to stay tuned for some other things. But yeah, check me out there, Stalker Actual Gaming on Twitter and Instagram as well. Also run a YouTube channel. So Stalker Actual Gaming there as well on YouTube. So do some mostly aviation related stuff. It's like maybe a snore fest for some, but awesome to others. So if you guys are into that, definitely check it out, and look forward to sharing some other things with you. So
all right. Well, other than that, it's been a first one's in the back, so hey. We're good.
One for the books.
Yeah, there you go. So yeah, man. Other than that, we appreciate anybody who has listened or will listen, and make sure to share. Make sure to comment. Also, just really just start a conversation. And so, other than that, we up out.
We out.
Take it easy, y'all. Be out.